What happens when a long-running zombie franchise finally finds its brain again, and horror starts bleeding into pop music and festival culture at the same time? Welcome back to The Final Cut, your daily pulse in horror, powered by Horror Movies Uncut. I'm Travis, and we've got a stacked episode today as we head straight into one of the most important horror release weekends of the year. Before we jump in, quick shout out to our sponsors. Over at Fanatical, you've got horror and genre game deals rolling daily, including pre-orders and discounted bundles for survival, sci-fi, and dark fantasy titles galore. If you're building out your Steam library, now's the time to do it smart. And at GRUV, physical media collectors, you're eating a very, very good. New and upcoming steelbooks, 4K restorations, and genre favorites are available right now. If you're serious about owning your horror, not just streaming it, GRUV's worth bookmarking. Get that 15% discount. Links are in the description and on all of our socials. Thanks for supporting our sponsors. It keeps The Final Cut alive. Now let's get into today's top stories. First up, this one is already shaping up to be a major genre moment. 28 years later, The Bone Temple is sitting at 95% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes ahead of its theatrical release tomorrow. And the early critical consensus is loud. Now, here's the thing. I had a chance to go see a screening for this on Monday. Your boy was tired. I'll be catching it with the rest of you guys tomorrow. Reviewers are praising Nia DaCosta for not just continuing the franchise, but evolving it. Performances from Ralph Fiennes and Jack O'Connell are being singled out as emotional anchors in a world nearly 3 decades deep into collapse. What's especially interesting is the tone critics are responding to. Visceral, brutal, but also thoughtful with humor, social allegory, and actual thematic weight. This isn't just another zombie sequel. It's being called the weirdest, boldest, and smartest entry in the franchise so far. And for horror fans who've been craving something with bite and brains, that matters. My question for you guys, do you want your zombie movies lean and mean, or weird, ambitious, and socially loaded like this? Let me know your answers in the comments ahead. Next up, horror continues to bleed into pop culture in unexpected ways. Madison Beer just teased the music video for her upcoming track, Bad Enough, and the visuals are straight up horror coded. Twin girls screaming in terror, axes, blood-soaked cottagecore imagery, and a tone that leans unsettling instead of glossy. This arrives alongside the release of her new album Lock It, dropping tomorrow, January 16th. And it's clear she's leaning into darker, moodier territory this era. This isn't cosplay horror, it's influence horror. The kind that borrows visual language from the genre and retools it for emotional storytelling. We've seen this more and more lately. Horror aesthetics becoming shorthand for vulnerability, obsession, which is playing at South by Southwest coming up this year, and loss in music and fashion. My question for you guys though is, do you like when horror imagery crosses into pop music, or should the genre stay in its own lane? Let me know your answers in the comments ahead. And finally, speaking of South by Southwest has officially unleashed its first wave of 2026 film and TV programming. And once again, horror is woven deep into the fabric, even when it's not labeled as horror. From Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, and Over Your Dead Body, to cult survival chaos like They Will Kill You, to Midnighter entries tackling workplace dread, grief and paranoia, and online violence, This lineup understands something important. Horror doesn't need a mask to be horrifying. Add in international genre work, documentary horror rooted in real-world trauma, and experimental titles that blur comedy, terror, and satire. And South by Southwest 2026 is already shaping up as a major stop for HMU coverage. And yes, we will be on the ground in Austin bringing you reviews, interviews, and daily reactions. Not just on the movies, music too, if you saw a couple articles before. My question for you guys though, at festivals like South by Southwest, are you chasing straight up horror or the films that don't call themselves horror but absolutely feel like it? Let me know your answers in the comments ahead. Today's take, which is very, very well written by me because it feeds into my other background. Here's the connective tissue between all three stories today. Horror is no longer asking for permission. Whether it's a decades-long zombie franchise finally swinging for depth, a pop artist embracing unsettling imagery, or a festival lineup that thrives on discomfort, horror keeps expanding because it reflects anxiety better than any other genre. It adapts, it mutates, and when it's done right, it doesn't just scare, it sticks. That's why we keep showing up. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to the channel, like the video, it helps more than you think. Drop a comment answering today's questions. Answer the Spotify poll if you're listening there. And if you got horror news, tips, or festival intel, DM at HMU-coded. You might get featured on the next show. That's it for today's final cut. Tomorrow is a huge release day, also the end of the week. So keep your eyes open, and we'll be back with more soon. Until then, you guys know the drill. Keep the lights on.